I think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
On today's episode of Women Reactions Directed Certain Scientific Accelerator, episode 12, Something to Protect. Now, this is the season finale of Accelerator. So I built it up in my mind as it needs to be something spectacular. So we end this season with a bang. So I figured we're gonna have an all-out battle between Harumi and Accelerator, something fluid, something dynamic, just something that would be awe-inspiring when we look back on season 1. This will be the climax. But what we got in return is completely different, but makes so much more sense story-wise. Now, last we left off, the heroes are finally entered in Harumi, trying to find the core to destroy it, thus putting her rampage to an end. We have Accelerator, Esther, Hasami, a Mizuka's sister, as well as the slowly but surely dying Mikihito. Now, while the heroes are trying to circumnavigate this grotesque labyrinth of a body that used to be a sweet little girl, Harumi is having issues of her own. She took it upon herself to absorb whatever she could to speed up her evolution. This is actually step 1 in her downfall. Yes, it seems absorbing the DA agents was a huge mistake. Their fanaticism towards justice is actually superseding the pseudo-soul as well as Isaac's consciousness. And there are literal moments where these bouts of justice take over. Isaac is slowly but surely losing control. But just as quick as he gains it back, the heroes are making a grand entrance. Yes, Accelerator, using the rotation of the Earth, because there's really nothing else to vectorize, is able to basically shoot up through the entirety of Harumi, reaching the summit and her core body. So at this point I said, okay, this is where we're gonna get it. It's gonna be an all-out, drug-out battle between Harumi and Accelerator. No, he actually takes a supporting role in this, which makes way more sense, hindsight being 2020. Think about it. This all started between Harumi, Esther, and Mikihito. Esther came to Academy City using her necromancy. She made the promise. I mean, she's been involved since day 1. It needs to be her that ends this fight. Even Accelerator's touts like, you want to be the hero, you want to save and protect. So it's time for her to step up. And just as it looks like she's about to land a blow, Isaac plays possum and puts on a fake Harumi. And of course, Esther, being Esther, falls for it. Luckily, her master's there to give her some advice. Like I said, he's playing a very supportive role, staying in the background, taking care of the smaller stuff. Very out of character, but again, this series is to showcase his character progression. Literally someone who at one point would fight tooth and nail to get a chance to take on a god is playing defense. Now, while all this is going on, it seems that Mikihito has found another one of Harumi's weaknesses. Yes, this is still Harumi. It's still her body. Isaac may be in control, but it's still physically her. Still physically connected to the coffin, and he makes use of this opportunity. Him and the Mizuka sister are able to, shock her, as well as the DA agent is still popping up out of nowhere going justice, justice. We see a failed attempt at this ultimate blast. All this coalesces in Esther getting another chance to do an attack. Yet it's still stopped by Harumi, but luckily she has friends. Hasami and the Mizuka sister join in and are finally able to plunge this dagger into her chest, hitting the talisman for the pseudo-soul and Isaac. We get a nice little black and white colored pencil moment between Isaac and Accelerator. He's just screaming at Accelerator, completely enraged, asking, what gives you the right to do this? Who the hell are you? And Accelerator's just, I'm a villain, man. And what proceeds is a very bittersweet moment. The artificial soul, Isaac, they are gone. They are destroyed. And what we see is the last semblance of the real Harumi, showcasing her pinkies up as if to signify that she remembers the promise, and as well as gain to say goodbye to her dying brother, who literally dies right after her. It's just very sad moment. Someone who is a villain throughout the entire series, you can't help but to feel sorry for these people. So in the end, we didn't get this big drawn out battle between Accelerator and Harumi like I anticipated. What we got was a more realistic approach to this story. Esther started it, she needed to finish it. But of course, this series is about Accelerator. He's still there to save the day. Now, earlier on, Harumi has absorbed the Sephirotic tree, so her power is immense. Where the hell is this power gonna go? It just can't dissipate once it's been, compressed, and it looks like it's gonna have a huge explosion. And with only last order on his thought, he goes in and tries to re-vectorize it, but again, it's of an unknown, so he really can't do that. But this is where we get to see Accelerator shine. Not only is he pouring his heart and soul and literally the last of his battery into this attempt to divert disaster, we see him go beyond his limits. We see the black wings. We see him, is it angel talk? Or is that what we're getting? Is it some kind of heavenly speak? Guys, fill me in. I know I should know this by now. But he has reached another peak in his abilities, and he was able to divert this massive energy. We see see it shooting out in the sky, something reminiscent of, a Kamehameha wave from Goku and Dragon Ball Z. I mean, it was just epically huge and would have caused devastation. I mean, I know he likes to tout himself as a villain, but today he really was a hero. And then the rest of the episode is basically wrapping up. It's very somber. It's very, it's kind of sad. We say goodbye to the pseudo soul that was put into Hasami. Hasami's body needs to be returned. It's not something Esther wants to fuck with. Ever since, I think Esther's pretty much given up on necromancy, or at least somewhat. That's what I feel. But she says goodbye, and although the pseudo soul will always exist, it just won't currently have its memories of its past. So obviously, every time it's attached to a new body, it's like starting over. It gets a restart. But this makes me sad, seeing them cry, seeing another promise being made. I think we're saying goodbye to Esther. We see this very kind of dreamlike situation where the ball that she gave Accelerator to show that she wants to be his pupil, that she wants him to be her master, is kind of like floating around, and we see Esther come in, and what feels like a farewell to me. I don't know how much pivotal she's going to be in the future, but this seems like a goodbye. So some character we've seen since the very beginning of the series is already gone. We say goodbye to Harumi, to Mikihito, to Hasami. Jesus. But this wouldn't be a certain series without another little girl falling into his lap, almost by fate itself, as Accelerator is out of the hospital, drinking that black coffee drink he likes, sitting on a satellite tower like he normally does. Out of nowhere, a girl in a suitcase comes crashing in. There's drones he has to destroy. She's dressed up in a bridal dress, and literally, that meme that's been going around where it's like, oh, here we go again. Literally what happens, like, here we go again. This is Academy City. Of course, this is a certain series. You're in the certain universe. Who did not see that coming? Anyways, overall, this season, it's a stepping stone. The best way I can describe it is a stepping stone. It's not perfect. I don't think it's standalone by itself. It has its ups and downs with art and animation. Unfortunately, I just rewatched Railgun S, and that blew my freaking mind out. Oh, February's so cute. Oh, Jesus. So cute. Of course, we'll have to see what the Blu-ray is like. But yeah, it's had its ups and downs. The pacing's a little off. They've cut some content. They've switched stuff around like you guys have informed me. I love when you guys do that. This is one of the most in-depth series ever created. So the more you guys inform me without spoiling me, it's just perfect. But it's giving us a deeper look into Accelerator. Like when we watched the original series, A Certain Magical Index, they introduce all these characters. We're like hundreds of characters deep now, and you're always thinking in the back of your mind, well, I wonder what's going on. These are the answers to that question. This is what's going on when you're not seeing Accelerator or Mizuka on screen, and I'm glad we're finally seeing that. I mean, there's even more side stories. Hell, who knows if the other ones are gonna get animators or not, but geez. My final opinion, though, is that this is a really good season. While not being perfect, it adds more to the certain universe, and it gives us a greater understanding about the evolution, the character progression, and Accelerator. What sucks now is that I have to freaking wait till January to get Railgun 3. Luckily, my Fridays are pretty packed, and this is actually gonna give me a break. Anyways, with all that being said, hopefully, this did well enough that we're gonna see a second season, or at least draw more attention to the original series so we can get into the New Testament. From what you guys say, that is the bee's knees. That's where the shit goes down, the shit gets real, and the shit gets good. So with everything being said, in Railgun, in the distant future, I honestly cannot wait for future episodes.